What's up guys? Today we're going to be checking out the brand new UGREEN DH2300 NAS. And thank you to UGREEN for sending this out for me to review. Now if you checked out the video that I did a few weeks ago, I did review the DH4300, which is the bigger brother to this one. That was a 4-bay NAS, this one is a 2-bay NAS. This will support up to 60 terabytes, and you need at least one hard drive to be installed. You can store up to 62 million documents at 1 megabytes each, 40,000 movies at 1.5 gig each, or 20 million images at 3 megabytes each. Now, before we dig into it, let's see what we get inside the packaging. So here we have the NAS itself, and then we do have a little accessories box. Inside we get your manual, 2-year warranty, LAN cable, mini screwdriver, screws, user instructions, and lastly, the power adapter. And here we have the NAS itself. Like I said, this is a 2-bay NAS, and the top does remove magnetically. As you can see here, we do get 2 HDD drive bays. They simply install and then uninstall just by simply clicking in like so. On the front, you do get the power button, 3 LED indicators, and a USB-C input. On the back are 2 USB-ins, a 1 gig LAN connection, an HDMI out, and then we have the power inlet. Next, we're going to grab our packet of screws and our screwdriver. We're going to take our drive, slide it into the tray, and as you can see, we have 1, 2, and 3 spots to put in some screws. Now, once the screws are installed, we're ready to insert the tray back in the NAS. Next, make sure you plug in your LAN cable and then plug in the power. Once you power everything up, you should see that the LED indicators will light up. You'll see that I'm connected to LAN and that both drives are being read. Now to start setup, you're going to take the lid, flip it upside down, and you're going to scan that QR code. Now this is going to take you to the download center so you can download the app on either iOS or on Android. I'm going to be using the iOS version on my iPad. So let's go ahead and set it up that way. Now once you open up the app, it should automatically find the 2300 once you scan that QR code. Click on register, accept the user agreements, and then click next. Now you're going to need to set up an administrator account. Once you get that all set up, it's going to ask you if you want to bind an email address. This will allow you to access anytime, anywhere your NAS, and then send you instant notification of any issues. Once you accept that, it's going to go through the configuration process. This is going to take at least 5 minutes, maybe less. Now once that's complete, it's going to kick you to the new device registration. And as you can see here, I've already got the 4300. Now once you get that set up, you're going to be taken to the welcome screen. Now it's going to give you a quick little walkthrough. Next, you can see that UGREEN offers flexible storage layout, real-time hard drive health monitoring, instant notification, and convenient external storage management as well. Next, we're going to create this storage pool. So we're going to select both drives. Now, since I'm only going to be using this for home theater purposes to only store maybe a few photos, but mostly movies, we're going to select JBOD. And as you can see here, I've got 7.2 terabytes available. Next, we can choose between ext4 or BTRFS. Since I'm only storing some movies on here, I'm going to choose ext4. Click on continue. Now this whole formatting process did take me about 15 minutes for both of these drives. Now tapping on the little button on the upper right hand corner, you can see that this is going to take us to the to-do list. Now we've got to complete 3 different things before we can move on. So the first step is create volume, which we already did. Next, we're going to create the first folder and upload some files. So let's click on go and then click on start. Now, since I'm going to be storing movies on here, I'm going to go ahead, click on the plus button and then create a shared folder. I'm just going to name this movies. You get the option to select your storage location. So right now we've got this on volume 1. We can add a volume limit. We can hide it in the network, enable the recycle bin, and only keep this for admin only. So click on confirm, and then you can see that we are all set and good to go. Now we have our movies folder. Next up, we're going to learn about the remote access. And then you can see here that this is going to give you your UGREEN Link ID. You can use this to log into your device from your phone or your computer and access it through anywhere, just as long as you have a browser and, of course, some internet access. You can also share this link with family or friends, and they can drop their own user files, movies, whatever you have into the folder onto your NAS at home. So once that's done, this is going to be your home page for the 2300. We can see here we've got a few different options. We've got the task manager. This will give you your CPU, your RAM, and all kinds of other information such as your hard drive, utilization, the temperature for each bay, and then if you are connected to your network. We've got universal search, so if you have photos on here or movies or anything else that you need to search for, you go in this area here and type in your search requirements. We've got your control panel, so this is your user management, your file service, which we are going to enable SMB. So make sure you enable SMB if you're using this for home theater purposes. This is going to make it discoverable on your network, so if you're using something like I'm using a Zidoo media player, this is going to allow the Zidoo media player to find your NAS on your network. We're also going to go under the Discovery service and enable UPnP service as well. So make sure you do all of those settings if you want to use this for movie sharing on your network. Next up, we've got terminal device. We've got hardware and power. Cooling fan mode, we've got common. You can put it on mute or on full speed. Now, if you put it on common, this is going to automatically adjust the fan depending on how hard your drives are being used. Mute is going to keep your drives quiet, and then full speed is going to keep this on maximum cooling, but it's going to be the loudest. And as you can see, keeping it on full speed, it can get pretty loud. Here we've got memory compression. Once you turn this on, this will reduce memory usage and increase data access speed to improve the overall system performance. Then we have network security and then index services. Now, once you have everything set up, you can easily log in by tapping the NFC on the front of the DH2300. And it's as easy as that. It'll take you right into the app. Alright, since I am going to be strictly using this for movies, I did download and install the theater app. So let's go ahead and just click into that. So to get this thing set up, let's go ahead and click on Create Library. Let's go ahead and give this a library name and call it Movies. Let's choose English as the language. Let's choose our Movies folder that we created earlier, which is the Movies folder. And then for information acquisition, it's going to choose TMDB, which is going to scrape data for your movies or your television shows that is located on your NAS drives. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click on Library on the bottom of the screen. And as you can see here, there is that Edward Scissorhands file that we copied earlier, as well as the Superman movie. Let's go ahead and click on Edward Scissorhands. And you can see that this will give you all the information. It is 4K, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos. There's the cast and crew, and it'll also give you the file information. Now let's go ahead and click on the play button. So depending on how quick your network is, this could take a few seconds or it could take a little bit longer, but for me, it was just a few seconds. You can see on the bottom, this is playing in 4K HDR. If you have a slower connection, you can choose what resolution. You can choose either original 4K, 1080p, 720, or 480p. Now in this section is all the included subtitles on your file, but if your file does not have any subtitles, just click on the Add button, click Download Subtitles Online. This is going to be Edward Scissorhands, and you can see we have a whole bunch of different options here. Let's go ahead and choose the first one. And once it's downloaded, we can see that it is the last option all the way down at the bottom of the list. And there you go, it shows up right on the bottom half of the screen there. So if you are watching a movie and you don't have any subtitles, it's pretty easy to add your own by downloading it within this app. Now, if you want to delete the subtitle that you just downloaded, click on the three little dots and then click on the delete button. Other options, we can select the different audio tracks. This is playing in Dolby Atmos since I'm watching this on my iPad. Obviously, it's not going to play in Dolby Atmos, but you do have the option. And then we do have a playlist section, but we've only got one title, which is Edward Scissorhands. Now, if you look on the top right of the screen, we can project what we're watching on the iPad over to an external device. We can see that I've got the UB9000, which is a 4K Blu-ray player. We've got the UHD 8000, which is another Zidoo media player. And then we have the Z9X, which is in my living room, and the Z1000, which is also another player in my home theater, which we are going to check out next by checking out the Z9X. All right, so here we are in my living room. I've done this before in my home theater using the DH2300, but since this is a smaller entry-level NAS, I wanted to get a setup that wasn't so elaborate. So this is on my television set in the living room. I have it hooked up to my network, the 2300. Now I'm gonna go into the media center under my Zidoo media player. This is an older media player. This is the Z9X, I believe, so it's a couple years old, but it still works fine if you have a 4K TV set. It's also 3D compatible if you do have this hooked up to a 3D TV or a projector as well. So let's go under Media Center. Now, since we had already enabled SMB on the 2300, we're gonna go into the SMB section and we're gonna do a rescan. We're gonna click on Accurate Scan. This might take a few seconds. And as it populates, you can see that the DH2300 does show up in the list of devices on my network. So I'm just gonna add in my username and my password. And now we can see that there is that movies folder that I made earlier. So I'm gonna go ahead and select on that. And here are those two files, Edward Scissorhands and then Superman as well. So when I click on Superman, let's click on Play Video. It only takes a couple of seconds to start playing. And again, this is going to be network dependent, so if you have a solid connection, it's only a few seconds from pressing start till it shows up on your TV, and it is recognizable on your network. And if we click on the info button, we can see that this is playing back in 4K and in Dolby True HD 7.1, aka Dolby Atmos. So again, if you're looking to back up your movies, you need something small, you don't want to have a NAS that's really elaborate, or you just want to get started, this 2300 works fantastic. Now I should also mention that you can also access the NAS not only from your iOS, Android device, but you can also access it from your desktop as well. So one more thing that I do want to check out is the Photos app. So once we get into the Photos app, you can see that I've downloaded some regular generic photos of watches and pizzas and bicycles. So from here you can see that I've got my own personal library of photos. You can also create different albums. So we've got recent, people, location, and videos, or you can create your own, and then you can also change your settings here as well. So you can search for similar or duplicate objects. We can have friends. Then we also have some sharing management. And of course, the positive thing is that this is your space. So if you do have your NAS outfitted up to 60 terabytes, you pay one price and it's 60 terabytes. And if you compare this to, let's say, Google One, you can see how their price tiering works. It is a monthly fee, whereas if you pick up your own NAS, you do not have to pay another monthly subscription fee, which is a huge plus if you want to save some money. Now, at the time of this video, you can save $42 and pick up the DH2300 for under $200 at the website, which will be the same as Black Friday pricing. This, of course, is an entry-level NAS powered by the Rockchip RK3576 processor. If you're just building out your home theater and you need an inexpensive way to store your movies, and you don't want to drop thousands of dollars on a media player like, let's say, the Kaleidescape, which is $3,000 for only 480 gigs, that's gigs, which is insane, you could start with the 2300 with 60 terabytes using two 30 terabyte hard drives for half the cost of the cheapest Kaleidescape player. You will have to do some manual work to get your movies on the NAS, but I think the savings will outweigh this slight inconvenience for a lot of folks. Of course, as mentioned earlier, you can store more than just movies. You can do photos and music and all of your other important data. And remember, this is your own personal storage. Nobody can take it away from you or make changes to anything you have backed up. And there are no subscription fees. So what are your thoughts on building your own NAS for your home theater? Is it something you do to back up your physical media collection, or will you take the risk and buy a media playback device and hope your movie download doesn't get taken away from you or changed for some reason or another? Leave a comment and let me know. Now, if you do want to grab one of these, I will leave some links for it down below in this video's description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.